Hi everyone, welcome to Authentic Ingenuity Entrepreneur. My name is Mina Crichton. I'm the narrator of this video clip and all my other video clips in regards to my YouTube channel. And it's me actually talking about my personal testimony, which is true and it's real, it's authentic. It's me bringing life, my court cases and the facts in my statement of claim. And so I'm talking about my personal, my private life and basically my entity as a human being and an individual and my journey on this earth. So today's day is the 18th of February 2025. So what you will be actually viewing on most of my video clips, especially to do with my court cases and that, we're dealing with whether the case is in regards to natural justice, natural law, or whether the case is premeditated and everything is organized. As you can tell, historically, I've definitely been micromanaged and used illegally without my consent. So just keep in mind, I like to use this video clip so everyone can see my set of circumstance of an individual that's actually concealed or is incarcerated. So this can happen to anybody, whether even at work, at home, anywhere. Okay, and my case is definitely a global game. It's been a global. They've used me for a illegal global Commonwealth game historically. I didn't know this in the earlier years, so I'm just putting everything together. And so I'll be just like denouncing and challenging the gossip and the rumors that is going out in social media versus what I have to say, and I'll just continue. So there's definitely a lot of facts in my personal journey where there's been a lot of hit and run, where the system has actually let me down, and people have actually, I can now actually prove legally before the court of law that I've been used for illegal Commonwealth game or some kind of a sport by people who were using me historically. So there's definitely hit and run incidents where people have used me for money laundering, relationship scam, committed the crime and then leave. And it is a global game. Definitely acts of torture comes in place because they've taken my liberty and my dignity away historically, and words cannot even describe the inhumane crimes they've committed on me, but the acts of torture definitely comes into it. So the motive and intent, these are the people that are actually stage stalking, making me threats indirectly, globally, whether the individual is being tagged or coded and used like a product to promote or make somebody else look better. But it is illegal, and I'm the actual individual they're using. So they're actually using my energy. They're in my space and trying to compete against me by being glued to my emotions and everything else to do with myself as a human being. And like another good word is actually they duplicated myself. So, but it does involve acts of torture, and this is definitely has the penalty of 14 years. Has 14 years imprisonment. I have actually officially charged Ministry of Health for acts of torture because that's very easy for me to prove, and a lot of other corporate bodies will probably fall in the same route as far as involving me because they've all participated, unfortunately, and that's what the evidence shows. So we're dealing with public deception to deceive. So that actually means a conspiracy to commit a crime against the individual, which I am actually that individual. So there can only be one truth and one that is telling lies or defamation and deceiving the public. So I'm challenging the public deception versus what I have to say and from what I can actually articulate from in the moment in my current set of circumstances. So, unfortunately, if you're on the opposing ally against myself, you're the negative energy. And I'm actually the positive energy because I'm the one always on the defense, and I'm fighting for my liberty, my civil rights as a human being. And I'm not actually a liar. I don't make it an actual habit to lie or anything like that. I'm human. I'm not perfect. But when it comes to legal matters, you just don't, it's either one or the other. So if you're opposing me, you're on a negative, and I've used this because I have found historically, they've actually this game actually. Not only they are dehumanizing people, but they are, the intent is to eliminate so nobody can go back. Like everyone, what it means is that a lot of very serious criminal people have gotten away with very serious criminal offences like money laundering, just a lot of theft. It's a very serious case. So this is what I have found they've done. Like anything positive I do, they've stolen it off me or taken it away, or they've lured it away. And what makes it even more dangerous is that they try and bring the people they want in your space to try and control and manipulate your circumstances. If you don't obey what they want to do, they will take other actions to force somebody to do what they want, which is illegal. It shouldn't even be happening, but this is the set of circumstance I've been subject to historically. So I'm just challenging once again the public deception against, the gossip and the lies and everything else versus what I have to say in the moment, because all this will be used in court legally. So historically, I am the actual original of my own life. There's clear evidence of gross negligence. I am the original. So, like I said, I am dealing with my civil rights in my life and security of an individual and my liberty. So everything now, unfortunately, everyone who has failed the system or has participated in a way to sabotage an individual, etc., you now fall in conspiracy to commit a crime, whether you're a corporate body or an individual. So we're dealing with natural justice and natural law. It's quite obvious. Historically, I've been micromanaged, so it means it's organised crime. So privacy breach is definitely involved, causing home invasion, which is a serious case. Okay, so my in the moment case, and I've used Henry Cavill and our relationship as a in the moment real life relationship. Okay, from my perspective and his perspective, which is I'm his private life and he's my private life, and then us versus the public deception and the public lies. But it is a love triangle that we're both trapped in, and there's a clear case of very serious conspiracy crimes by those that are deceiving the public, because they all link to the government and it is a global game. Okay, so we're dealing with unlawful operations and it is organised crime, but I'm just using this here today as an example of dehumanizing an individual. So historically, the project that I've been ranting and raving on about on my YouTube channel is that they take a person's life apart like this. Like this is how you take a car apart, or you take a body's human, and then they just want to find out everything about you. But this is what the illegal scientific experiment does. So they're studying your mind, how you're thinking, and then they're comparing you with whoever they're comparing you with. But this is what you call unlawful. Just take some of that off. So I will just continue. I just thought this is what the project entails on an individual, but it also because it's home invasion, it is very likely all your immediate friends or family have been studied too. Like, this is what they're also doing to your businesses, and then they're studying all your trade secrets with the intent to interfere or steal. So definite secret alliances, there's definite privacy invasion. So they've actually basically broken every single law in the book that exists to protect an individual. So this is what's happened to Henry and myself, and also to the others in my personal profile. But it's definitely internal criminal corruption with a motive and intent to control and manipulate and steal. This is a really good post just to describe of internal corruption. It's full access internally, okay? So, for example, when someone gets murdered, the first suspects, usually in a murder case, is who has access and who are the people that encompasses the crime scene, okay? So historically, the people that have been controlling and manipulating my set of circumstances are actually the people who are controlling and manipulating the technologies, involving anything that I touch with the technologies, and also the global surveillance with, because I know I've been surveillanced globally. Historically, I haven't known who, but I've just known that it's quite serious. So it's so intimate that they've linked themselves to your immediate family, okay? So they've done that to me, or anyone that they will use as an emotional blackmail to actually blackmail you to stop you from doing something, or they will murder that person, or they will murder somebody that that is you once upon a time knew or is close to them. So the threats are all indirect. So everyone who has access, who makes such threats, I mean, common sense is for anyone to be able to know where you're going and what direction you're doing, they have to have information to know that you're going to go to this direction or you're going to do something. They have to be able to have access into what you're doing privately to be able to do what you're doing. So this falls under emotional blackmail, okay? So they've done that with my family and with my children. So all the corporate bodies who's participated or get caught out, they will be punished for emotional blackmail for stage stalking something in advance, because let's face it, they don't have supernatural powers. They're just a normal human being. They've been told what to do, so they just go and do it just by texting each other, coding, and then they just do what they do, which makes it even more dangerous for the originals who is being used, okay? But if they are making death threats like they've done to me using sound effects, they've used knives like they're going to cut somebody's throat, they've acted it out, that comes under punishment of blackmail, because that's emotional blackmail, okay? It's directly or indirectly. So we're dealing with psychological and mental abuse. They did that while I was working for my employer. They are doing that when I go to corporate bodies to do my shopping and just walking around like a normal citizen minding my own business. The criminal alliances are coming in and they are acting it out in public. Okay, they're using words as coding. I've approached some of them because I'm so tired of their threats, but it is emotional blackmail, and so that will come under this law. It says 14 years, but this is what I've had to put up with nearly every single day when I go out in public. But it is definitely a criminal alliance. The danger is you don't know who it is, because it can be anybody, because I've been used like a product, like a global game. So I'm just exposing things as they happen. Okay, so this here is crimes against humanity, obviously. All the wordings I've got here, they're actually all from the criminal law, so they all fall in my case. Okay, so all the wordings I've put in here, I've just basically translated it in plain English, so those that don't know anything about legal laws and everything, I've just kind of translated it in plain English what that actually means. Okay, so crimes against humanity is definitely what falls in my case, which is life in imprisonment. So it's an enslavement, So if a corporate body and groups are all participating, you will be treated either as a group but you'll still be treated as an individual or a corporate body. So we're dealing with substitutes. It's definitely hate crimes. It's usually the people that have stolen from you in the past in your profile. So they either haven't been caught yet by the law, but they're just all using their family and friends to abuse the victims, to stop the victims, and but it's definitely a criminal alliance. And the public deception is the whole idea is they're trying to deceive the public, with using the relationship scam. They're using also that to influence the judge or influence something or creating evidence. That's what they're doing. And this is why I am going to be challenging everything in the moment, because the alliance against me has been deadly for years. But it's definitely, it's unruly, and it is illegal and dangerous. But it's quite evidential now. So when you're actually in a organised set of circumstances, like I've walked into supermarkets and I can just tell by the temperature of my environment whether it's negative or positive. I can just tell. Okay, and an alliance where people are actually acting out how they feel or what their preference is on behalf of somebody, that becomes a negative force, and you can actually feel it. Which normally means it's dangerous. I've gone out and people have made rude, disrespectful they're snorting. Or just leaving their mark in my space to let me know they're on to me. But that shouldn't even be happening. That is a negative force. That's a warning also that a negative force or a negative criminal alliance is linked or is glued to whatever you are doing. It's intentional, which makes it serious. So sometimes you can measure your environment just by the hostility, or there's aggressiveness in it, and you can feel the anguish or unfriendly, definitely enmity, where it's definitely a hate alliance. So if this is actually happening in your environment, I suggest you tell that person to leave the premises. They don't have to be there. Because it happens to me, and I've actually dealt with it where I've actually approached the people head on and they haven't liked it. They've just turned red in the face. Or I've asked, or I've spoken indirectly, deliberately to them because I know they're talking about me, because it's not normal. I mean, it's not fair. Here I am, innocent civilian, just going to do my shopping, and then all these scenes take place. But it shouldn't be happening, but it is. But if the police ring the police, and in my case they haven't interacted one bit, so I'm not happy with. Well, I've actually sued the police, New Zealand police, and that case is still pending at the moment, because my case is very concrete that they have perverted the course of justice historically, and that they have failed as an agency. But I've had these problems wherever I go. Recently, I just know when it's that the right people have stepped in, and I know when when the wrong alliance, because they tend to do things when the right people isn't watching. Okay, so they wouldn't be doing it if they know they're going to get caught. So I just know when it's when they do very serious micromanaging organized crimes when I'm by myself. Other times you just don't approach them, and don't go public. Don't go anywhere private. You are a civilian, you're within your right. You are the innocent victim, so just stay within your space. But I have dealt with it head on, and I'm taking evidence and then putting it on my YouTube channel and Facebook page, because, what I'm going through is serious. It's serious violent offences. The criminal alliance going backwards from when all these crimes started while I was working for my employer has never stopped. In fact, it just keeps increasing because they actually they find me a threat for obvious reasons, okay? So like I said, I'm being micromanaged. These people are using their jobs, like the bus drivers, the train station. Everyone's in on it. Everyone knows who I am. I feel like nothing is absolutely natural. But they have put the women in my space linked to Henry, and then they're stealing. Their intent is to steal Henry's heart, or to steal anything monetary linking to my court cases. And this is what they have done to me in my private life when I go out publicly. But I suggest, depending on the hostility and that, ring the police on the spot if something is not right, and just report the incident, which I have done in the moment. I have not been happy with the attitude of the police, because unfortunately they've been linked to these alliances. They're just helping each other. So for myself, I'm the individual. I'm the one that is being used like a product, minding my own business with, trying to my best to go forward. And it's like Star Wars. So our breach is just being able to sense something's not right, but it is definitely a negative force, and you're basically totally relying on your senses, and that, But my whole life, since I lost my privacy, everything about me is contaminated. So they only just need, once they study you, your family, and your businesses, they just need one person just to tip them off. Okay, and then this is where the gangs come out, which makes it even more serious for the public and even for the government, because that is what's happening, internal corruption. Quite clearly, we're talking about money laundering and fraud involved. And like in my court cases, they're wanting to win the case. The Crown wants to win the case over myself, of course. So they've taken advantage of an individual. The judges should have actually referred the case to the criminal jurisdiction, or to get somebody to take over my case against the defendants, which is actually the Crown, because they can do that. The laws allow it. I have made applications during my court cases, but they've ignored it. The whole idea is that they're trying to save each other's job, but this is where the match fixing, and then everything becomes a sport. Serious wrongdoing, serious misconduct, frauds, schemes, so this was always a problem before this new age system came in. Now it's a real serious problem for everyone. Okay, so common sense is a breach. Once a breach is gone in your private life and in your business, it doesn't stop. If it's not being resolved properly, legally, to stop the opponents or the competitor or whoever's behind it from invading your private life, they will continue to attack, which they've done to me by using relationship scam, and they are glued. Okay, they are glued. And then they just put a band-aid on. It doesn't resolve anything. If a problem is not being resolved properly, legally, if the victims are not being compensated, that's why they have laws to compensate the victims, so they can take precautions to protect themselves from being attacked and living under serious violent condition, or serious violent offences committed by people who keeps attacking them. But that's why the laws are clearly are in place, and for corporate bodies, it is $10 million for each corporate body, but they can be charged more than that. But in my case, definitely falls in that category. Individuals are actually charged $500,000 for human trafficking in persons, but it can be more than that because of the continuous suffering, pain and suffering, and the great loss that has taken place upon the victim, whether it's home invasion. But the system, they're just putting a band-aid on it and they ignore it, and then but I have found I have not been able to go forward at all. Right, so we're dealing with crimes against reputation. So they've actually deleted that in the Crimes Act 1961. So they've deleted that, but they've changed it to the defamation law. But there was a reason why these laws here were in place, because conspiracy crimes, where competitors or secret societies wants to take over somebody's reputation or take over somebody's personal territory, their character, or whatever it is they want, they are doing it by ruining their reputation, by what they are doing to me personally, okay? So every single law is broken. The intimacy is so intimate. I have found while I was working for my government, when it first started out, they were making threats like cutting the power. These are their signatures they put out. Or they know when somebody is ringing me, and then they will show their threat, they are threatening to hurt my children and that. But they did this while I was working for Ministry of Justice, where they put out rubbish bags. Their threats are real, okay? And for an example, I know I've said this in another clip, where Henry went through a downtime. He was depressed, and he was talking about committing suicide. And even the timing of that happened. Like, I never told anyone he was saying that, and we were just texting each other, but I knew I was being monitored. So someone inside watching us texting, or listening to him and his mum, or watching me because he was in hospital, okay, because that's a public area, but they would have read his mood. So what I'm saying, I'm just articulating my suspicion. Whoever inside, that lady or that nurse that tried to overdose him, how would she know the timing to go in there and to overdose him? Like, he was talking about, he was depressed, and rightly so. He's been through a hell of a lot emotionally, and going through mental anguish, and like, seriously, I'm so proud of him. He's out of it. But I'm just using this as an example. How does this nurse know when to go in there and overdose him? The one day that his mother decides to go out, she's never left his side 24/7, because we both knew someone was trying to kill him. And then this nurse just happens to go in there when he's by himself. He's vulnerable. He can't defend himself, and she injects him. She leaves the scene, but right in the time when he's talking about being depressed, right? And then the doctors come on the scene. The doctors tell his mother, who has no experience, anything other than just being a normal citizen, being told by somebody in fiduciary duty, somebody we look up to, our doctors, telling his mother that he might be brain dead, or that, he like a vegetable, his organs might not work. That sounded like he was going to be in a wheelchair. She was devastated. Okay. So I'm just using this incident of why our privacies are so important, but I'm just using this incident as an example of internal corruption. So somebody internally who has access to everything we are doing is actually initiating the murders or initiating hits and run. So I hope you will get the point what I'm trying to say here. I'm just using that as an example. They're still doing that to me when my children text me, or when I'm talking to, like, they know my highs and lows, and as soon as I'm happy, they take it away. So that is serious. So the public deception is they're trying to win in favour of the defendant. In this case, the Crown is the defendant, everyone. Okay? So that's serious when these kind of things are happening secretly behind the scene on innocent civilians, and the system is corrupt. But they are the whole idea. Like, for example, with Natalie and the double, and I had to oppose that. Because they are trying to influence the judge with my court cases, and also with all my application, and then and making everybody turn against myself, and trying to make out that I'm mentally impaired. Get this picture? So I know without a shadow of doubt I'm confident in my truth. And the rest I leave to the law, to those watching over me legally, and to God. But it's also a good example for the public to be aware, because this is absolutely inhumane. It's definitely home invasion. Okay, they can take out all your business. But if people are being rude, approach them and ask. I've approached people. I try to be nice, because other times it triggers my mental health, and I just get angry. And yeah, I'm guilty. I've sworn, because that's my weakness. That's the way I've let out my anger. I know that's not good, but that is my weakness, and that's my mental health reaction to the abuse that people have done to me historically. Because they have pinned me down, and it's like stabbing somebody, soul, to hurt them. This has been going on since 2008. Oops. And like I said, I'm only human. So people have come in my space, or people I've known have been used, or people have tried to help me, I think. I'm not sure. But they have actually abandoned me. Like, people have used me, betrayed me, abandoned me, and then I've ended up trying to stick up for myself still. And so this is where we are at today. Definitely acts of torture comes in. I've already gone over this. So unfortunately, if you are working for the government, you are obligated actually to always operate in integrity, honesty and integrity. But what they've done with me, what I've also found, that the relationship scam are linked to the defendants. Okay, so the coding is in place for the other alliance to help the defendants who have broken the law over the person that actually win. So this is what they've done to me. Okay, so this is where the unlawful strikes come in, where the judges are making wrong decisions. It's because the public deception linking to the relationship, linking to the defendant, which in my case is the Crown. And like I said, if the defendant is Indian, all the Indians are ganging up on you, or the Maori extremists, they all joining forces, or the the white supremacies extremists and other nationality extremists all are on the side of the defendant. So in this case, the defendant is the Crown. A lot of people are doing it because they're just helping each other, win the case or keep their job. But I have to explain how the actual tagging and the coding versus the public deception and why it's happening. It is because of the court cases, which is totally unfair for the other party who is trying, honest, who's doing everything honestly. But unfortunately, in law, this is what everyone is supposed to be exercising. And if you are linked to anything Commonwealth game globally, you have already broken the law of treason according to New Zealand laws. They're still active and they still apply. So I know that the women that I have denounced have linked themselves to my court cases, and they have linked themselves to my family, but the first people who gets into trouble first instance is those linked to the government and in my court cases. And the fact that the breaches are linking to people's private, innocent civilians who knows nothing about law, knows nothing that, to them, they're just going along with it. That's abuse of fiduciary duty, who somebody is telling them to do it. But they don't realize that they've actually just stepped into an alliance that can backfire on them anytime, and they're studying you while you're playing the game, and then it can backfire and you end up going to prison, or that you end up losing everything anyway because they're studying your businesses, they're studying your home life, they're studying your children. That is what they're doing historically. So I'm just using the posters. This is what everyone is doing. If you're on the side of the deception, the tipping off, the lying, if you get caught, you're on the wrong alliance. And this here is exactly what they're doing and have done to me historically, and it is definitely indictable offences. I know without a shadow of doubt I shouldn't be alive today because of everything I've gone through and still going through, but I am. So I feel I'm within my space to expose the evil works of the enemy, because it's not fair on innocent civilians who are honest, who are straight thinking or straightforward thinking people who do everything honestly. And then we have all these criminals, wanting a free ride or wanting to better themselves using other people without their permission. But all the laws are broken, and it is definitely, they are copying. To them, it's just a joke. And after a while, it becomes like an addictable kind of a game. Because there's something in it for the people that are doing the secret everything versus the original who are actually the victims. I thought I'd show this as just evidence. This is just one of the photos that I got from Henry's mum as evidence that this is just one incident. We had to go in hospital. I won't say too much about it. I don't want to talk about that, but he is doing okay. So everything that I have mentioned on my video clips is actually sufficient evidence for it to go legally in court to challenge the opposing people that are breaking the law and deceiving the public. Okay, so what they've done to me, there's definitely aggravated wounding and intent because of the intimacy, and they are hurting me. I mean, to be totally in love with somebody and then to have it rip away from you, and then go out and people mock you, or you go out and the courts sabotage you and humiliate you publicly. I mean, that is serious, but the charges definitely comes under aggravated and wounding or injury. So when people do that, they are doing psychological and mental abuse crimes, offences, and there's definitely emotional injury involved. I've actually gotten sick because of the humiliation and abuse that I've gotten from the courts. They come out and, but this is all part of the global game, the rejection. But it's, sorry guys, but you're in the wrong job if you're doing that, because now after the fact, you can still be charged all these charges, whether you are the employee or the corporate body. So this is, this is the whole purpose of laws. So my case falls on that. So the global game using me as, for relationship scam, trading in influence. If people within government are trading in, you're trading in influence. If you're influencing a case, it's 7 years imprisonment alone. Okay. If you're tipping off the public and you get caught by a breach, that's, you're in trouble. Like, all these laws apply to my case. Okay, I've had to put this up I think it was just yesterday I put this up. I'm putting things up as I'm guided because I'm trying to clear all the gossip. Okay, so people have actually broken the law on me I have never broken any laws, okay? Not since I've worked for my employer. I've never have, but people have dug up my past and then they've used my past to interpret it, but secretly without my permission. So they've broken several laws already. One, they've retrieved my private profile without my permission or consent. Okay. Two, they've used it to influence those in government, whether it's whatever decision they're making. And three, they've used it to influence the public. So then, people are naturally racist anyway. And they, I'm going to say it is, but, there are, what's happened to me is that there are several extremists all involved in my case, and they've all broken the law as far as breaches and conspiring together to take out and or eliminate myself and everybody else involved within my space historically. But they have discriminated. I mean, there's discrimination because there's discrimination, but it's another thing to dig up somebody's past, interpret it wrong, and then use it to deceive the public or use it to gain favor in an alliance over another person. Okay, so they've used a relationship scam. You can hear it on their ads, younger, fresher, blah, blah, blah. And so they're using younger women and they're wanting the public alliance to be in favor with them. And then they've used Aotearoa, okay? I am not racist. I've got Māori family, okay? But I'm going to identify the people behind the criminal alliances, okay? So they have this secret alliances where that is negative, on my part towards me, okay? New Zealand first, whatever it is. So they've built an alliance in favour of the defendants. They're using younger women. It's a game. I can just sit down with a criminal crown and go over all the ads historically and have everyone done for privacy breaches involving courts, involving court cases, and involving everything to do with myself, making you all done for very serious criminal offences, because there's nothing in law that supports this, okay? But the penalty is 7 years imprisonment if you dig up somebody's past and you have actually interpreted it wrong. There's nothing substantial in law, and I can prove that I'm not a illegal immigrant, and I did not just come through whatever everyone is saying secretly behind the scene. I did not break any laws, okay? That is actually no one's business, okay? So I'm denouncing all that gossip, but I can confirm without a shadow of doubt, I can prove in law that your information is incorrect, okay? I'm not an illegal immigrant, and in saying that, that is no excuse to discriminate somebody. And then, but this is what has happened. The Maoris, Aotearoa, I'm not racist, but I have to identify what I see and what is going on publicly, and the tipping off, because that is not fair. That is not fair what yous are doing. They've discriminated me because I'm from, I've been an immigrant, and they've dug up everything about me. And then they want to see if I qualify to do this. They want to see, this is what they've done to me. And then they are in the favor of the people that they are using as a substitute. Okay. So what actually happened, the coding, this is why all the Maoris are attacking me, and then all the extremist Balangis and all the extremist Indians, because of the coding. That is what's happening secretly in our government to do with me. But unfortunately, you've all broken the law, and you're using your job for the wrong reason, and you have nothing substantial legally. I promise you don't. But I'm denouncing, and I'm letting everyone know how it works, because that is not fair. That is not fair what you're doing. You are using my family and using people in my family against me, whether it's to give them a favor in something, but I'm not afraid of the truth, and I feel I'm supposed to be doing this. Yep, so we've got busybodies. All the people behind these alliances are people you would never even associate with in real life. But when it's a global game, that is unfair. I mean, you can have all the gay people ganging up on one individual. You can have, there's just people that I wouldn't even associate with personally in real life. But I'm stuck in a situation I can't get out of. But that's not fair what everyone has done. There you go. So I'm talking about the cults and the extremist belief. I know they've used extremists in my family. People I'm so private, I hardly even see anybody in my family. If I do, I'm very selective who I see. That's how private I am. But I know they have used people within my family, whether they've paid them something to do, and then everyone, people's beliefs. Some of these extremists, they don't care about laws, but this is the Commonwealth game, and then they've used people within my private life to pin me down or be a spy, and then they use the hub desk they've used people in my private life to pin me down, and they've used the hub desk like a security to protect the real people that are breaking the law in government. So I hope you'll get the picture. So it's definitely a left behind case, and if you're an original, you and is associated to me in some way in the past as an original in my environment, it's very likely you are a target, or you could be targeted, and you will go through exactly what I'm going through now, because all they need to do is just have one person in your space and contaminate everything you're doing. And it all takes is just them sowing seeds of discord, and that is what they're doing. So we're dealing with premeditated crimes versus something natural. So who's at fault here? Definitely not me. But this is, I'm just using posts to help everybody where I'm coming from. So unfortunately, there's definitely criminal breach of trust by those in fiduciary duties, whether it's a doctor, whether it's somebody in government, whether it's somebody like even the court registrar, people at the counter, the people you talk to on hub desk. So there's definitely breach of trust there against the corporate bodies. So I definitely have a very good case against all the corporate bodies in my personal property. All right, so here we've got the corruption or bribery of a minister of the Crown. I know that a lot of people have stepped down involving me, but by law they should actually be charged for breaches or participating in criminal activities, because that's why we have laws. So we're talking about corruption and bribery of a minister of Crown. It can be anybody, but keep in mind, I'm going through, it's a global game. So we've got other corporate we've got other government are globally involved in my case. Okay, so I'm not talking about New Zealand government. It could be somebody else overseas. But these are the laws here. They apply to them also for participating if they get caught and within our government. And this also goes for corruption and bribery of a member of parliament. This talks about people in our government, and globally, because all these people are all involved globally in my game. So the women that are being used, they're being sponsored and or they've got other powerful people with lots of money around the world supporting them, and this is what's giving them the confidence to break the law and trying to make out I'm a liar. But I have got confidence in God because I know I haven't done anything wrong, and I'm within my right to do what I'm doing. So, I'm opposing anything they're saying in regards to my personal space and my private life. So, see, all these here, instead of people actually stepping down, they should actually be in prison. See, there's another law here, corruption and bribery of law enforcement enforcement officer. It can backfire. Okay, so even if I don't make it, you can still be charged even if you step down. Here's another one, corrupt use of official information. I know some people in hub desk in the courts, they're using their jobs, like they're looking up my name to find out if what I'm saying is true, or to do some kind of an investigation, and then they're just gossiping. Okay, that's why I'm denouncing the public, because that everything's just done by gossip. Okay, just whispering gossip. I know that I have pressed criminal charges against the Ministry of Health, and because it's a private prosecution, I've had people when I talk to, I felt that because they can't see it in the system that tells me they're doing unlawful investigation. They've interrogated me on the phone, and I'm saying this and this, and then they're like doing their investigation in the system, and then they say, "Nah, she's lying. There's no charge." You know what I'm saying? So this is what's happening, but it's true. I have legally charged them. It's not in the system because it's a private prosecution. But this is why privacy laws, this is what's happening to me and to other people. People, in their jobs are accessing your information without your permission, and then just using it by just gossip. Can they find out who's doing all that? Yes. The system is created where they can find out who deleted the information and who has actually gone into that system to have a look. That's a breach. And this here, if you like tipping off the public about a court case internally, that's also disclosure of personal information. That's 7 years imprisonment. If you get caught tipping the public off publicly using the devices or updating the public about a court case, that is 7 years imprisonment. That's a breach. The people who are actually tipping off the public can be charged or shut down and go to prison. But there's laws for everyone, like laws for everything, everybody. This also includes people overseas or hosts. I know that there's been lots of millionaires and people around the world globally who's been interested in me. And these people are like, they've got money that, I can't, I'm no competition to anybody because, I'm just minding my own business. But that becomes bribery of foreign, when people are coming overseas and then they are, in the call centers, using people in call centers to get information from me or whatever. Or when I send my application is not actually being managed by the correct people, and then they decline everything, even though everything is correct. But in hindsight, they're actually just stealing everything eventually. But there's charges for those people too. So if you're a court deputy registrar or you work for the courts for any kind of job, if you are a police officer and you work in any kind of a job, if you work for trading like for security or anything like that, and you're trading an influence and tipping off, people in the public or people or gossiping to other people about something that is none of your business and you get caught, that's 7 years imprisonment. But trading an influence to influence a court case, if you get caught, that's 7 years imprisonment. So that's why I'm denouncing anything public, and I can confirm that Henry Cavill is not in a relationship with any secret lover or anything like that. Just another incident I know I can use. These people are intimately in me and his private conversation by texts. Obviously, I've already just talked about what happened with his mum and him when he was having a dark moment. But recently, this is just how intimate it is, I have to explain. We were talking, having this conversation on the phone. His mum decided to put him on a schedule so he'll get sleep so he can get well. And so she put a strict rule around that, which means I wasn't even allowed to talk to him. And then I didn't hear from him for quite a while, and I was just respecting, what was going on over there with him and his mother, because we're trying to get him well and just not stress him out, because stress doesn't help him at all. It's not good for what he's going through. And then so they put him on a schedule, and then he and I agreed. I went along with it. I had no choice. And the hardest time for me was actually when he was unconscious, and then I had to wait for days, weeks till he was able to come talk to me, and then so I have to use this as an intimate illegal being too intimate, and people just tells me that people are reading our texts. I'm having problems with being cloned to these women in my private life here in New Zealand, and they're using cars or something to resemble these women overseas, whether it's their car or anything. Okay, so I've already gone over that in some of my clips. But one particular day, our conversation ended where he had to go for a shower, and then I had to wait till he contacted me. And so but I had to go out, okay? While I go out, an alliance comes out, trying to put a thought in my mind, because that's what they're doing. They're trying to put thoughts in my mind to let me know that, or trying to make out that Henry is actually seeing us, a woman, secretly, rather than actually talking to me. Okay, this actually kind of like got me upset, because then a video clip went out by these tarot readings claiming that Henry is, having a secret lover. Okay, but this here is consistent with this period of time, this conversation. I've actually still got the text for that can be used for court, where and then that put thoughts in my mind. I was like, okay, because it's quite cruel, quite painful what they're doing. This is how serious it is, okay. And then we ended up having a real big fight about it. But when I went out this particular day, the Public Alliance would stage stalk and actually come out with objects or use their job vehicles to actually let me know or make me think or put thoughts in my mind that Henry was actually having a secret lover, and he was just brushing me off and taking time out to be with her. But he wasn't. None of that was happening. But that tells me that somebody was reading our texts. Okay? So I hope you'll get the point. And then all of a sudden these tarot readers are, putting out there to the public that he's got a secret lover. And yet all this time he's actually been fighting for his life. So that still can be investigated, but no, I just thought, just for the sake of everything that I'm going through and for all the honest people who are not into scams, but this is the evil of technology. Okay, this is what I've been subject to historically, and that's not hard to prove now. But if you get caught, you will be done for conspiracy. But this is the kind of alliance that I'm subject to when I go out by myself. It's horrific. And people are persecuting me to try and get me to think I'm cursed. I'm definitely not cursed. Okay? If anything, I'm actually the better person. So I'm going to finish up now. But everything, every single law in the legislation has been broken. But the scary thing about it is that, the interference, the threats is real, and yet it's a global game. But intent is to steal. Okay, quite clearly, my family, we're pretty well. For example, the things that I have come up with, everything involves money. So what is actually happening is that the public in the global game, their intent is actually to steal. I mean, they've taken down a whole church. So innocent civilians haven't known the laws, or even that their life was actually in danger because of privacy breaches. But it is conspiracy to commit a crime, and the whole idea is the positive energy. They're trying to eliminate everything and anything to do with me. Okay. So if you're on my side, you're on the positive energy. Yes, I'm always on the defense, but I'm determined to do the right thing and stay doing the right thing. Anyone else that is abusing me or is doing public deception or breaking laws in reference to me is breaking the law. You're on the wrong alliance. Okay. End of story. Well, it's actually a real life story, real life facts, and me just interpreting it. Okay, have a good day, everyone.